My name is Russell Hill. I'm an agile coach and trainer. I call myself an agile coach and trainer, but essentially what I do is I work with businesses and I help businesses get better at what they do. I work as a freelance coach and trainer, and I will work with companies to help them improve on their current ways of working or their current practices. So that's essentially what I do. My background actually comes from a software and a technology background. I started my working career as a software engineer, and I did that for several years, and then gradually I moved into more managerial type positions or leadership positions in technology. And then when I moved to Berlin, which is where I live now, I started to move into agile coaching and training and consulting with organizations and working with organizations to help them do what they do. And I've worked with very large organizations. I've worked with companies which are very large corporations. I've worked with small startups here in Berlin, and I guess everything in between. So from medium-sized companies to mid-sized companies, etc. So one of the projects I've enjoyed the most is working with an organization in Berlin a few years ago. This was an organization which was about 10 years old at the time, and had been profitable from year one. So it wasn't a kind of startup in the sense that it was being funded by investors. It was actually a profitable and serious business. But over time, as the company had grown, and it had grown from a small startup to around 400 people, as it had grown, complications started to come into the business as more people were involved and more work was needed to be done and more teams were working together. The way in which the company was scaling and sizing was problematic. They were struggling with coordination, with collaboration, struggling with knowing what's actually going on in the organization, which projects were being worked upon, which ones were having problems, etc. And so working with this company for around 6 months, and using flight levels to help them understand and coordinate the work across multiple teams was a really valuable or really enjoyable experience. It helped the company go from something which was somewhat chaotic and people just reacting and firefighting all day long to actually a well-structured, well-organized business that had lots of predictability on the work that it was doing, so it could actually identify how much work is going to be delivered in a period of time. And it was the first time in the 9-year history of the, or 10-year history of the company that they had been able to accurately predict how much work they would be able to do in a period of time and actually honor that commitment. So this was a very rewarding experience for me, and helping the organization to mature in that way was very satisfying. And the way in which that was done was essentially using flight level systems. So I helped the organization recognize that there was a gap between what was required from the organization as a whole and what the teams were doing on the team level. In between there was nothing structured or nothing in place, nothing visible, nothing transparent. And so by using flight levels, I was able to build that bridge between the organizational needs and the needs of the teams at the team level, and actually be able to visualize and see what was going on in the organization and help plan and coordinate and synchronize projects and synchronize development work that was needed. I discovered flight levels by working predominantly from my background as a Kanban trainer and working a lot with Kanban as a method. I found that a natural progression from working with Kanban was actually to then work with flight levels. This was how I first became introduced into the flight levels world. So that was my introduction into it, and I found that over the years, as I've been working with organizations, I've been doing some of the things that flight levels talks about, but in those times we didn't call it flight levels. We maybe called it something else. Then as the years progressed and as I became more aware of flight levels, I started to get more engaged and finding out more about it. and realized that it provided a very good thinking model for what I needed to help my clients and to help my organizations that I work with. And so this thinking model I found really useful, really helpful. And from there, I pursued more interest. I took a few courses like the Flight Level System Architecture, Flight Level 2 Design, and once starting using those techniques and those ideas from that training, I then started to look into how to become a coaching professional, a flight levels coaching professional. So that's when I then moved into using the coaching professional program that I enrolled on, which I did, and this has brought me to where I am now as a flight level coaching professional. My biggest takeaways from the Flight Levels coaching program was working with other coaches and meeting other coaches. We were brought together, most of us didn't know each other, and we were exchanging ideas and exchanging experiences and thoughts with people who were perhaps internal coaches in a large organization, so they have a different set of challenges. Contrast that with external coaches like myself who work with clients. And we were brought together in this coaching program that ran over a series of 3 months. And it was an amazing experience to be able to exchange our ideas, exchange our thoughts, our experiences, and really get some insights into what are each of the coaches were challenged with, what they had to deal with, the challenges they had in their particular context. But there are other really positive takeaways as well. I also really enjoyed working with the material that the Flight Levels coaching program provides. It provides that some really pragmatic, hands-on material which you can pretty much take off the shelf and use with your clients. So when it comes to working now with clients, the coaching program provided some really good material, some really good ideas, some checklists. It provided facilitation structures, notes for workshops, all these kinds of things which are really valuable to be able to use and work with clients, and that was really valuable. And thirdly, I would say that the Flight Levels coaching program helped understand the balance between being an expert in something like flight levels, for example, but also contrasting that with being a coach and a facilitator and helping the client build their own capability. Because ultimately, this is what I think Flight Levels really offers. It offers the opportunity for an organization to build its own capability and not to rely on an external consultant who needs to be there regularly. So my goal when using Flight Levels is actually to build the organization's capability so they can fly alone, they can do what they need to do and do it independently. I would recommend the Flight Levels coaching program for people perhaps like myself who are coaches that work with clients or with companies, and they help companies do what they do, but try and help them do it better. But I'd also recommend the Flight Levels coaching program for people who work within organizations and who are tasked with the challenge of bringing change within their organizations. That could be a coach, it could be a leader or a manager, but people within organizations to do the coaching program is also valuable. It's not just for people who are external to an organization. The people in organizations who have maybe a leadership or a management role, in that they have an influence in bringing change into an organization. It's good for change agents in organizations to be able to understand the Flight Levels coaching program, but it's also useful for people who are making decisions and who need to provide the organizational support in order for change to happen. Some organizations face the challenge of having individual teams that are working perhaps quite well, maybe using agile methods. But when multiple teams need to work together and coordinate their work together, this is often a challenge for organizations. And this is where I often see organizations are slowing down and they're struggling to deliver on time or struggling to deliver in a reasonable amount of time that the business expects. And Compounding on top of that is often organizations have some kind of strategy, some kind of direction that they want to head. And bringing those strategic items into the organization and into the multiple teams and into a department or into a business unit is also challenging. And I find that organizations are often struggling with this concept. So maybe they have great agile teams, but if those great agile teams are not coordinating effectively, or if they're not being able to understand what strategic initiatives they need to deliver and how to deliver them, then this is a challenge. And this challenge can be overcome. It's something which I've done regularly in the past, and it can be done simply with using flight levels in a way which helps bring visibility and coordination, so we ensure that the right people are talking about the right things at the right time and making the right decisions in front of the right information. And when this starts to happen, and when that capability is built, performance of the organization is often improved, whether that be delivering more reliably, or whether it means delivering in a faster time to market, or whether it just simply means that we actually deliver our strategic initiatives as we want to deliver our strategic initiatives. My passion is helping organizations do great things, and that's what I really enjoy doing. It's something that I really get value from, and it's great to see organizations going from one particular state and then moving to something which is really amazing and delivering great things. So that's what I enjoy doing. That's what my passion is. And yeah, if people are interested in pursuing this, then they can always contact me or contact other Flight Levels coaching professionals, either through LinkedIn or perhaps through the Flight Levels Academy, where you can see a whole suite of Flight Levels coaching professionals who can help your organization.